My name is Chitty. I'm an Augustana football player from Nevada, Iowa. I'm about to be a sixth-year senior. I'm a double major with biology and exercise science with hopes of becoming a physician in my future. I grew up in a loving Christian home, going to church services and Sunday school. During this time, I never truly knew God. I heard all the stories, but I never really understood any of them. Once I got older, sports began to take priority in my life. We'd go to less and less services. I stopped going to Sunday school, and I was really distant from the church. When I got to high school, I was immediately a varsity athlete, and this led me into an older crowd that introduced me to the partying scene at a young age. I found myself down some dark paths early on. My sophomore year was one of the lowest points in my life. From bad relationship struggles, nearly quitting football, to losing my starting spot in basketball, something I just started to get recruited for, started to slip. What my world revolved around was starting to fall out beneath me. I was battling just sleepless nights, not eating enough. Academically, I started to fall and develop some bad drinking habits at a young age. It's my sophomore year. I'd leave hanging out with my friends early or just flat out stay home just so I could drink on the weekends and drink myself into an oblivion. The lowest point for me, there were many times during those drinking binges where I would contemplating different ways I could just take all the pain away, just end it all. Even going and grabbing my dad's shotgun one night. I just felt like I couldn't do anything right. I never felt like I was enough in just any of aspects of my life at that time. And I just felt kind of like a burden, So I figured it'd just be easier if I wasn't there, But by the grace of God, I was able to be drawn out of that valley. I found myself falling in love with the weight room and working out, and in my mind, that's what drew me out of that valley. Realistically, it was the Lord who drew me out of that valley. I wish I could say it was a lot better when I got to college, but I kept on with a lot of the same habits that I had developed in high school. During my first few weeks here on campus during fall camp, I suffered a season-ending shoulder injury that resulted in me just being done for the season, taking football away from me, something that I would have revolved my whole life revolved around during that time, sports. I had fallen back into my old habits of blacking out every weekend and making dumb decisions with a lot of women in my life. I found myself being arrested in a bar while underage my sophomore year. By this time, I was very distant in my faith. I was wondering why the Lord had done some of the things He'd done, led me down these paths. It was a difficult time in my life, and I had finally started to get the ball rolling that summer going into my fourth year, and I finally realized what I needed, what I had been missing in my life, and that was a consistent faith portion of my life. I finally started going to church consistently again, going to FCA consistently again, and really paying attention to our team devotionals. That spring of my fourth year at Augie, spring of 2022 was when my life officially changed. I begrudgingly attended an FCA college retreat out in Rapid City, South Dakota, and my life has never been the same since. I had never felt such a love, connection, passion for the Lord. I left with my heart on fire for Him. From there on out, I started reading the New Testament and praying before bed every night, and He had just moved my life in so many different ways and avenues that I had never thought possible. From there, I had finally found a newfound motivation, confidence, my sole purpose on the football field being playing for the applause of nail-scarred hands. He worked in my life in so many ways that I just never would have imagined. I mean, from that season, I was able to play free for the first time ever, play with confidence this past season. Even through injury, battling injury, I was able to just just understand why some things were the way they were and what they were leading me to. This past year for me has been unbelievable. I was able to have the best football season I've ever had personally, named the academic team of excellence, was an FCA leader and led team devotional, all while just continuing to love and spread the word. He had never left my side this whole time. Even though I hadn't been faithful to him, he had been faithful to me. You know, as I sit here today, I know he'll continue to work in my life in ways that I can't even imagine. He'll continue to be faithful to me, even at times when I'm not faithful to him. And I'll continue to live for him. I ended up getting baptized at the same FCA retreat where I found him. And I knew I had been called, I had been hearing all the sermons from Pastor Wheeler. I just knew it was something that I needed to do as a newfound, just committed Christian. And I knew there was something missing in my faith life. I knew I needed at some point to commit to that. And the opportunity finally presented itself, and it happened to be in the same place where I truly found the Lord. Crazy how that works out, huh?